A 14-point win on the road at night in Madison. I don't care what era we are in. That's a good win.
Yeah.
Remember, the last 3 trips we have had over to Madison, Wisconsin. The first was an L. The next 2 were 7-point wins. This was actually the biggest win we have had in Madison, Wisconsin since, I think, Cooper. Yeah.
Might be.
There was an era there with Wisconsin when they went through a bad stretch in the 90s. Cooper might have. I'm going to fact check myself in just a minute, but it wasn't pretty. There's a lot to be angry about, and most importantly, the turnovers, right? I mean, gosh, this game should have been a lot more than it was if we would just simply not turn the freaking football over as much as we did. We kept them in the game with turnovers. I understand that. But this defense, Aaron, is legit, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way around it. The defense is on fire. They really are. I mean, Lathan Ransom goes out, which, by the way, I was worried about. I was messaging you guys like crap. You know what I mean? Is this Cam Martinez coming in now? And then he did, and he looked like crap. And then, so, okay? Thank goodness I have forgotten his name, honestly. But who's the kid that I couldn't stand that transferred to USC? The safety.
Oh gosh,
What was his name?
Oh shoot, he was really bad.
It's a blessing that I forgot his name, and now I need to remember it and can't.
Yeah, I'll look it up real fast. Keep going.
Terrible DB. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
Terrible DB1. We'll use a screen name. But, to me, I hate to hate on Cam Martinez, you know what I mean? Because he did have some good stuff, some good film. Bryson Shaw, there it is. Yeah. Chris coming in with the save. All right. But I hate to say that about anybody else, but I can't help it, dude. Cam Martinez is Bryson Shaw 2.0.
He's out of position.
A lot.
Well,
his coverage is not good either.
I don't think they should have never moved him to defense.
Agreed. But what would he have done on offense? Because he's not that fast. If I'm being honest,
he could have been a Xavier Johnson type. He was a quarterback in Michigan.
Well, that ain't saying much.
I think he was Mr. Michigan.
That ain't saying much.
Yes, it is, man. I don't care who you are. That's legit.
It is. I hate to take credit away from him or anything, but like, I feel like he should transfer. And it's not because of disliking him or anything like that. It's just, he's not going to play quarterback. He's not good at DB. There's nowhere for him to be on this roster. There just isn't.
Why do you think they put him in then?
Well,
experience, like what?
They had to, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Lathan Ransom came out, and they put him in. So I mean, for him to be next up is kind of concerning to me. But like you said, I guess it would have to be experience, right? He's been in the program for what, 3 years? 3 or 4.
This is year number 4.
That's crazy, man. It feels like he just got here. But yeah, I can't think of another reason.
Well, I know this much. I'm tickled pink about this win. During the moment, you had to calm me down, especially on that first turnover. I was about ready to reach through the screen and choke McCord.
Yeah.
Okay, can I explain why?
Absolutely.
So, in the preseason, when I went to that practice, I came back from that live practice and I told you guys there is a flaw in McCord's game. And I cannot believe, given the kind of quarterback training these kids receive now in the offseason and in the summertime and on campus at Ohio State, that someone hasn't taught him to raise the football up to his chest when he's dropping back and he's moving around in the pocket. He keeps it away from his body, down at his lower part of his chest, above his belly button. And when he goes to throw, his motion is elongated. That is why I believe he's oftentimes late on throws or he's underthrowing receivers. Number one. Number two, because it's away from his body, look what happens. He puts that thing on the turf way too much.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a pet peeve of mine that I saw. And go back and check the tape. All right. Go back and check the tape when we were talking about whether it be him or Brown. I said McCord has got a flaw. He's got a hitch in his delivery. I don't like it. And no one has addressed that. And it's becoming an issue. Number two, I don't know of a quarterback in college football that has had as many intentional groundings as this guy has. Learn to step up in the pocket, and if you have to, eat it. Okay? A 3-yard, 4-yard loss is better than an 8, 12-yard loss every time. Okay? So those are two things in his game that the interception in the end zone, throw that sucker away, dude. Throw it away. And then the one more complaint I've got, Ryan Day, do not be afraid to kick a field goal. You have the nation's best, one of, if not the best defense in college football. 3 points is like 7 points to this defense, dude.
Mm.
Kick the field goal. If we kick a field goal in this game, we probably win this thing by what? 20. We won by 14. We win by what? 20? If we kicking field goals instead of throwing interceptions and going for it on fourth downs and coming up short, we win this thing by 20 points. 3 scores.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Easy. I agree.
So those are my thoughts. Your thoughts, Aaron?
I can't disagree. Watching McCord, it just wasn't one of his better games. But I'm gonna be honest. It's the offensive line. Usually, their strong suit is pass blocking, and maybe Wisconsin presented a different kind of matchup for them, but they just didn't look that good. There was I think it was either a third or fourth down. And I mean, it looked like they just olayed the whole front seven for Wisconsin. They just let them right through. Like nobody got a hand on absolutely anybody. And McCord had to do an intentional grounding. There was nothing else he could do. Like the O line regressed last night in pass blocking, run blocking. I don't know that they looked really better, but that's the Travion difference when he's healthy. Because, I mean, he had 20-something carries for, 160-something yards?
Yeah, he had a good game.
Yeah. Before, Mayan Williams had 20-something carries for 60-something yards. Trey Anum had the same thing. Those guys weren't even averaging 4 yards a carry.
No.
Travion comes in with the same offensive line and almost goes for 200. That's the difference. So, I mean, we talk a lot of trash, right? 5-star talent, 2-star health. We're seeing the difference in 5-star talent and 3-star talent.
Yeah. Well, number one, he hit the hole hard yesterday.
Well, yeah, he usually, like this season, that's one thing I've noticed about him is he's hitting the hole hard. I've noticed that in several games this season. Is it consistent? No. Last night was probably the most consistent I've seen him do it, but it's nice to see out of him. He's not a power guy. He's a finesse guy. But he's kind of, for me, changing the narrative on that because I've seen him make contact and keep driving his legs. Usually he just goes down.
Do you think Ryan Day intentionally held him out for what has it been, 3 weeks or 4 weeks? I mean, it feels like it's been a while. For this stretch run because he wanted him completely 100% healthy from the Wisconsin game on.
Like load management?
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be pretty
like
weak.
he could have played, but he's like, I don't want him to because I want him to be 100% healthy going down the stretch.
I think that's a pretty weak move to do. I don't think Ryan Day would do that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I really hope that that's not what his strategy was behind that. But I got to say, too, an issue that I've noticed with Kyle McCord that I shared with you guys during the game is he eyeballs Marvin Harrison the whole game.
Well, if I had him on my team, I'd be eyeballing him too.
Yeah,
I'd
but
be.
okay,
I know what you mean, Aaron, but
yeah, for the common guy, yeah, if it got MHJ, I'm throwing it to him 10 out of 10 times. But the problem is you got Egbuka, who they said was healthy but didn't play. What happened there? You got Brandon Ennis. I don't know, dude. I don't know. They're not doing a lot of stuff that makes sense to me. But the point that I was trying to get to, okay, Kyle McCord stares him down every game. And I have noticed that since, I kind of cut him some slack against the first couple of games because I figured, okay, maybe it's part of his progression. He trusts Marvin Harrison. They were high school teammates. Understood. But the problem is he's not looking at other people. He stares down Marvin Harrison, and Wisconsin capitalized on that. Their defensive coordinator noticed that. Marvin Harrison still had a hell of a game because, well, he's Marvin Harrison, but a more capable secondary is really going to make us pay, especially one that has a defensive coordinator who gets it. Because all you got to do is lock down Marvin Harrison, and Kyle McCord is going to crap his pants because he doesn't look anywhere else. That is his first and only look. How often have we ever seen him throw a check down route, a genuine check down route, like to one of the running backs
very he
downfield,
he usually does, but he does it way too late. It's
or
like
he throws it at the ground so
yeah.
low that they can't catch it?
Well, that's something else, and that makes Chris go crazy. I mean, if Chris was on here right now, he'd be blowing a gasket about those little passes to the outside that do nothing. And quite frankly, there was one. I think it might have been the chip. Chip was they motioned Chip to the outside. They went to throw it to him, and he bounced it to him, and Chip was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Really?" Like the one time I get a pass and you throw me a ground ball, like come on, man. We're getting a lot of chatter in the chat about Stover. What happened yesterday with Stover? Only one target his way. Aaron's saying he's staring down Henderson. He's not really looking for Stover, which is kind of was early on in the season, being a new quarterback, he was kind of a safety valve. We talked about that being something that we would see early in the season. I think they were using Stover a lot more in the blocking yesterday, if you noticed.
yes, they were.
So
And G Scott.
they really weren't going out. And then based on where the blitz was coming from, G was free. He was so that he would go in motion late or go out in his route late, and Stover was stuck blocking. So um, that's one of the reasons why he wasn't as active in the passing game. I think he did receive one target though. I could double check that, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so a lot of talk about Stover not getting the football in the chat. All right, let's give our letter grades for the offense and defense first here. Let's start with the offense because it's the ugliest. Chris actually gave him a B. Chris, you need to explain yourself in the chat, buddy.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked.
That's a pretty good grade for as many turnovers as we had. Maybe he believes in the Wisconsin defense. It was a night game in Madison,
It
so
was.
and it was Halloween.
Yeah.
So woo, freaky things happen. I went with a C minus. Aaron, you went with a C. Why'd you go with a C?
Because they looked average. They really did. I mean, Marvin Harrison had a game, but really nobody else did. We expect that. So I'm not going to give them more credit for something that's expected. To me, the highlight was Travion running the ball. So I mean, to me, that kind of offset the crappy showing on offense, throwing it. Two turnovers. One was a fumble, one was an interception, or was it two picks?
Two interceptions, one
Yeah.
fumble.
Okay, there it is. Two interceptions and a fumble. So I can't give anything above a C for that kind of performance.
Yeah, we had 226 yards passing, 181 yards rushing, 407 yards total, 5.9 yards per play, 23 first downs. All the numbers sound pretty good. 6 of 13 on third down, 0 of 1 on fourth down. We led in time of possession, 33 minutes and 50 seconds. But those three turnovers, I just can't ignore, man.
No.
Those are rough. What grades did you all give? Larry says a C for the offense. Sammy Poston says McCord may lose his job.
No.
Jay Thompson says James. I know he said earlier. Jay Thompson says, "What will McCord do if he manages to keep?" Listen, guys, the only way McCord is going to lose his job next year is if Aaron Nolan comes in next year and is a bona fide superstar. And still, I
That's gonna.
I just don't see that happening
I
next
hope it
year.
does. I'll be honest. I hope he does because what we could use really is is some read option right about now. Because that, I'll be honest, like in the last few years, I haven't seen anything keep a defense more honest than the read option out of a truly athletic quarterback that can also throw it.
Chris said, based on Henderson and Harrison only, it was supposed to be a B minus, but Wisconsin has a decent defense, but our stars stepped up. All right, and then Jay, can I give Kyle an F and the rest of the offense a B minus? Jay, you can do whatever the heck you want, man.
This
This
is
is your world.
America.
Yeah, we're just living in it, brother. It's your world. Sammy says he gives a C for the offense. Run game was solid, but McCord really needs work. Harrison did his Harrison things. Yeah, the dude's not human. At this point, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like he was, I think his dad, along with Peyton Manning, had some kind of weird science project in Indianapolis one day and created this thing that they thought, hey, we'll name him Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's not human. I'm telling you, he's not. He's not real. The things he
Okay,
does is not real.
can we talk about these daggone nicknames?
Oh my gosh, yes, let's do that. Why not?
Maserati Marv. What was the one last night? What were they calling him? Magician Marv or something?
I don't know. The NBC guys are tough for me to listen to.
Yeah, that's a little difficult. But why don't we just stick with Marvin the Martian? Why can't we do that?
I've always liked Marvelous Marv. That was that
Dude,
one.
you are weak.
What's wrong with
Marvelous,
that?
marvelous. If this was
Simply
1980s,
marvelous.
look, man. If it
Hey,
was
I am
19,
old, dude. Come on. I love the 80s.
if it was 70s or 80s wrestling, I am down. Okay,
That was the best.
it
That was
was.
the best. Chris, Maserati Marv.
Just stop, Chris. Log off,
Ah.
buddy.
Marv the Magician. There it is. Oh my gosh. What? You guys are hilarious. Let's
Honda McCord.
Honda.
That's great. That is the best. Larry Daniels, you are the man. Honda McCord.
Oh my gosh. That you just won the internet tonight with that
Just shut
one.
it down. It's over. There's
We
nothing
might as
else
well
to
just
talk
stop the
about.
show.
There's
I
nothing
mean,
else
this
to
is
talk about.
mic drop there. All right, let's look at the defense. So we gave up 165 passing yards, rushing yards, only 94. It would have been interesting what would have happened if their running back wouldn't have got hurt. That changed the whole complexion of the game.
He was starting to heat up too.
259 yards total, 4 yards per play, 14 first downs. They were 6 of 16 on third down, 0 of 2 on fourth down, 26 minutes and 10 seconds, and they possessed the ball and they did have one turnover. So I gave the defense an A minus. Chris said A. Aaron, you said A. Explain yourself.
Well, I feel like I don't have to if you watch that game. They did a great job. I mean, I know that the Wisconsin running back leaving the game kind of changed the dynamic of the whole situation, but he did play a whole half, and I mean it. I don't. He was starting to heat up, but who knows if he would have came out in the second half and continued on with that or not. But I feel like we did a nice job bottling him up, to be honest. Because I mean, 10 carries for 50 yards. And if our offense continued to do what they were doing and the defense doing what they were doing, Wisconsin would have ended up having to throw the ball a lot anyway. So I mean, you're kind of taking him out of the game at that point, regardless. What did I
Chris is
say? Allen
Chris
went
is
down.
Chris is poking me. He knows that
Yeah.
is my least favorite saying in all of sports. Next man up. My least favorite one. um. So yeah, that goal line stance by this defense, Aaron, was a thing of beauty. That I thought that little play that they called where they went with the little pitch, delay pitch on the inside, that usually eats us up. And the defense gobbled that thing up like it was nothing. It's been a while since we've seen a Ohio State defense that I was confident in that wasn't just going to lay down on the goal line. You
Yeah,
know, this one for some reason they are tougher than the defenses we've had in the past few years, especially in short yardage. And you know what? Sawyer on that drive, Sawyer was in the backfield.
a lot.
Uh, and I thought, hey, that's now he about destroyed JT's back for a hot minute there, but JT was able to get back up. But hey, you can't fault Sawyer on that. He's just going in and making a play, man.
Yep, and he
Um,
did.
so Tyleek was living in the backfield. I've never seen a bigger man get as skinny as Michael Hall can get. And by that, I mean he can slip through the guard and the center so quick. He's like grease lightning between those guys. And as big as a human being as he is, for him to do that, that just creates these mismatch issues for offensive linemen from our defensive tackle position. So I'm incredibly thrilled with what we've seen defensively. Anything else in the defense that we need to highlight before we hand out Buckeye leaves?
Yeah, I mean, you talked about it. Tyleek Williams, and I just feel like in the goal line area, a lot of times teams try to run it up the middle. Well, this year we have a very strong, center in the middle there. Like our defensive tackles are just on top of it,
Yeah.
more so than they have been in a few years. So I think that contributes to that particular skill or whatever for the defense. But even more so, Tommy Eichenberg, man, that dude, the play you just talked about, he's the one that blew that up.
Well,
Okay.
when he stood Braylon Allen up,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that
real stuff.
that's man ball. That's
That
what
was
that
that's
is,
dude.
man.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is that was grown man linebacker play right there?
Yeah.
Because Braylon Allen is not a small guy,
No.
and Tommy
No.
Eichenberg stood him straight up.
Yeah.
So that was linebacker play like that is something that I feel like we have missed probably since Malik Harrison was here.
Maybe even further back. I was gonna say Shazier, but Shazier was different. Shazier was like
Yeah,
athletic side to side.
yeah, yeah,
In all honesty, I would say that Steel Chambers is a poor man's Ryan Shazier when it comes to his athleticism and
yeah.
being able to cover guys and help out in the run game and things. But
Eichenberg's just another level.
I mean, is it the animal, little animal? Is it since Laurinaitis?
No. I'm gonna say I don't know, man. I have to. I'm gonna stick with Shazier.
Okay.
Okay, I'll stick with Shazier just because Malik Harrison was a great run stopper, but they had Pete Werner to break up passes on that defense. So I don't think that Steel
Wait a minute.
Chambers.
They had Pete Warner to break up with Shazier?
No, Malik Harrison.
Okay. Okay, sorry.
No,
I
I was
was
going to
like,
say I'm
whoa, wait
pretty
a
sure
minute here.
Pete Werner might have been in middle school when Shazier was at Ohio State. uh, okay, Nick Quint, go ahead and delete that, buddy. We're going to leave Tough Borland out of any conversation I'm a part of. Chris Wilds, you know better.
For fun this off season, we should put together Ohio State's like most hated defensive players on one defense. How bad they would be. You get
We'll just have a top 10 of the slowest defenders we've ever had, and Tough Borland will be 1 through 9.
that one was for you, buddy.
Oh, I hate you. I mean, love you, Chris.
All right.
So,
Let's give out some Buckeye leaves.
all right.
All right, guys, get those typing fingers ready. Matt Butcher. Hey, I want to say Matty Butcher from Australia. Hey, I watched the rugby World Cup today. Matt, between South Africa and New Zealand, and South Africa won by 1 point. And dude, I'm hooked. That was freaking awesome. That sport is way football used to be before we became sissified. So that you got guys like bleeding during the game, and like it was cool. So I'm hooked, man. Yeah, Bryson Shaw would be on that worst D. Yes, Nick.
Yes,
Yes,
1
yes,
through
he
9
would.
is Borland, 10th is Shaw.
Those lads go hard, hard, eh? Yeah, that's they do.
They do.
It was fun. All right, here we go. Buckeye leads. Let's hand them out. Let's start with the offensive player of the game. My Buckeye Leaf is going to go to Travion Henderson. Chris said Harrison and Henderson. What say you, Aaron?
Henderson. Henderson, and I say that because he sat 3 games, came back in like he never missed a beat.
Yeah, that was one, and that was definitely his best game of the season.
But yeah,
Number one, and I'd have to go back to his freshman year to find a game that was that good, because it didn't happen last year.
no,
So
nah, he was too banged up, and I think he showed us what we've been missing.
actually, Jay, Chris is the one
I
bringing
was
up
going to
the
say,
participation trophies today.
old Generation X there with the participation trophies.
Yeah, everybody kind of agrees Travion Henderson is the offensive MVP. Let's flip it over to the defensive side. The defensive player of the game. Now, Chris said Tyleek Williams. Um, I'm going to pull out the participation trophies again. I'm going the entire defense for a second straight week.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I'm having trouble picking just one guy or one unit. I think they're all playing extremely well, and so I'm like, give them all a Buckeye leaf. What say you, Aaron?
I'm going to stick with Tommy Eichenberg.
Okay,
As much
Nick
as I
agrees with you.
want to say, like give credit to a lot of the defenders, Jordan Hancock had himself a game too.
Yeah.
But I just above and beyond for me was Tommy Eichenberg.
Okay. Jay said the front four. Yeah, yeah, I could see that. But again, look at how good our defensive backs played, and the linebackers for that matter. Gosh, I'm going to get to it in a minute, but the linebackers had some amazing plays.
They really did
Make a
make a decision.
decision. See, Larry's backing me up. Definitely a team effort on D. There you go.
That's what makes them so good. Is they
Mm-hmm.
flow so well, like level to level from the front to the back. They just flow.
So you were a defensive coach. I'm going to ask you a defensive question before we move on and finish this up. Second year in Jim Knowles' defensive scheme, right? First year, there was kind of a trying to figure out what he wants us to do. He's kind of simplified it maybe a little bit. It's an alpha. He's the alpha, huh? What if you could pinpoint it down, explain it in just a few sentences, what he has done differently so that this defense has become so effective? Is it just the simple fact that they're more comfortable and they're just reacting? What's going on?
I think it's a combination of those things. I think that it's year 2 in the defense, so they're getting comfortable. I think that he has simplified it so they're not out there thinking. Because you go from Oklahoma State to Ohio State, and I think there may be this expectation that I don't want to say smarter, okay, but maybe football IQ is a little higher, perhaps. So maybe he tried to do a little too much last year, and it got a little complicated as the season went on. But I think that what's happening is they're comfortable. They've got base knowledge from last year. You got a whole off season of practicing it and learning it even more in depth. And this year, I think they've simplified it. And then continuity in the secondary, I think that helps having like guys like Josh Proctor, Hancock's in the program. I think Igbinosun wasn't here. I know that, but the dude fits in so well. You wouldn't have known.
There's an alpha in his own mind right there.
That guy's for real. I love Igbinosun.
He does not lack for confidence at all.
I love it. Dude, that right there, that's how wide receivers are. If you play corner, You have to have that same arrogance, that same level of confidence that the receiver across from you has, or you're going to get dusted. All right. They're going to route you, they're going to run by you. You have to play with that. Um, yeah, agreed with that. Cam Martinez, there's a reason he doesn't start, but I digress. So to answer your question, Eric, I think that it's a combination of being comfortable, kind of simplifying it so that they're just read and react rather than this. Now against Penn State, we saw a pretty intricate blitz. The little switch there. I Things like that, we don't see a ton of it, but we see it when we need to see it, and that's the point of this. You don't want to show too much. But the other thing I notice is they're running mixed coverages and they're disguising them. Dude, you put that kind of stress on a quarterback, they're going to make mistakes or make poor throws. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm really liking out of the secondary.
I think with this defense playing the way they are, Nick says, and the offense starting to turn the corner in the run game, maybe. I think the only way the team can go, only way they can go is up. I love your confidence. Um,
I hope you're right.
there is a glaring hurdle out ahead. We all know what it is.
Oh, yes.
So
At the
we
end of
got
November.
we got plenty of time to talk about Rutgers. D line has definitely shortened the time for quarterback to look around. Not much more than 3-step drops and throw this year with this. Yeah, I think the defense coming along like they have, um, it has been big. Jay, what corner is the offense turning? What's he mean by that?
He was asking Nick Quint,
Oh,
and then Nick
yeah,
Nick
yeah, yeah,
answered
yeah.
him. Yeah, he meant with
With
Henderson being
with
back.
Henderson, yeah.
And
Well,
I agree with that because he's
yeah,
provided some balance there. So it's yeah, I
yes,
agree with that part.
yeah. Actually, we do as well. Um, all right, let's go on. Let's move on. We got to hustle up here.
Oh
So the
shoot, yeah.
next one would be the offensive play of the game. I went with Marvin Harrison's second touchdown grab. Again, he's not human, guys. That was. And did you see the whole coaching staff's look when they thought he was hurt? They're like, "Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
ooh!"
Ryan Day was like his arm was in the air and he was just like his feelings were hurt.
Yeah.
Mine would
He
be
just
so shoot.
he just saw like all of those hours where he's talking about drawing up plays to try to get him the football. We're just like, oh no, they're gone. But yeah, that was my offensive play of the game. Chris, what say you? Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron, what say you?
My offensive play of the game was Travion's touchdown. I think it went for like 43 yards, but the vision that he showed, the patience that he showed, and then the burst, that would just, as a former running back, that thing was just a thing of beauty, man. He found the gap and then he hit the lane and he was gone. And I mean, he just exercised. Yeah, that one. But yeah, I just feel like that was definitely the play of the game, man. That thing was a thing of beauty.
Jay, you're showing your age with that one, buddy.
Fred Sanford.
It's the big one.
Yeah,
Uh, Chris actually agreed with both of us, Aaron. He said both plays were his offensive play of the game. So,
cheater.
yeah, pumpkin eater, right? Sammy Poston agree. Harrison's second TD. All right, the defensive play of the game. Now, I have an interesting one. I actually went with a Steel Chambers strip at the beginning of the game. Remember, we turned the ball over near midfield,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, uh-oh, here we go. This is not a good. And then we immediately got the ball back because they stripped the football. That was a huge, huge play very early on in the game that established the fact that this defense came to play. They were not going to be a pushover today. They were there to play. That was big to get that football right back. That was my defensive play of the game. Chris said that his defensive play of the game was Tyleek's sack. Aaron, what was your defensive play of the game?
Mine was actually the play you discussed earlier. That little inside pitch that they tried to score on, where Tommy Two Thumbs stood up Braylon Allen. I keep wanting to call him Braylon Edwards, old stone hands from that team up north. just rolls off the tongue, the hatred. Anyway, yeah, that's my play of the game.
Yeah.
That was a big play for me.
We'll call that the Tommy goal line tackle. That sounds right, doesn't it?
It just feels right.
Brian Oberst said a second week of having a sandwich sack was huge. Yeah. That was Tyleek, and who was the other guy on that? Was that JT on the sandwich sack? I feel
See,
like it was. I feel like it was. I feel like that might have been JT getting
well, the
back
only
that
other
kid.
person they credited with a sack was Jordan Hancock.
That was Solo though. Yeah,
Right,
the
right.
Tyleek got that sack, but I'm pretty sure that JTT was just a second later than him, and so they gave it credit to Tyleek. But
Didn't even
uh,
give him a half a sack. That's
no,
weak.
they did. Yeah, they didn't even give him a half. Yep, Brian said JT. Yep.
Okay.
Some people agreeing with me that that was a big play by Steel Chambers.